Have you ever noticed how some people have a different look? You know that feeling of peace and warmth we experience when we meet someone special today. I'm going to share something I've been observing for years in my ministry that has completely changed the way I see people. Literally, my beloved. It is not by chance that you are watching this video right now. God has a unique way of guiding us exactly where we need to be. And today we are going to talk about something you may have already noticed, but never fully understood the special marks in the eyes of God's chosen ones. You know that verse that says the eyes are the lamp of the body in Matthew 6:22. Jesus was not just talking about physical vision. He was revealing something much deeper to us. Over the years I have encountered extraordinary people on my journey, and I began to notice an interesting pattern in their gazes. I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me last week. I was in a cafe waiting for a friend. When a lady approached my table, she didn't say anything. Initially, just looked at me with those eyes that I would recognize anywhere they were. Eyes that carried something different, something that cannot be explained with words alone. And do you know what she said to me? God sent me to you today. And she was right. We had an important message for each other. It's amazing how God works, isn't it? He places signs everywhere, even in our eyes. And I'm not talking about color, shape, or any physical characteristic. I'm talking about something much deeper, something that transcends the natural and touches the supernatural today. I'm going to reveal to you the three main marks that identify the eyes of a chosen one of God. And pay close attention, because you might be one of them and not even know it, or perhaps you know someone like that. And now you will understand why you always felt something special about that person. Before I continue, I need to warn you once. You know, these marks, your way of looking at people will change forever. You will start to notice things that previously went unnoticed. It's as if God is giving you a new pair of spiritual glasses, and do you know, what's even more impressive, these marks are not the privilege of a few. God is always calling people to His special purpose. The question is, are we attentive to recognize that calling? Are we willing to accept our mission? But before revealing these three extraordinary marks, I need you to do something important if you are not yet subscribed to the channel. Click the subscribe button now and activate the notification bell. Why? Because what I'm going to share next is just the beginning of a series of revelations that God has been showing me, and you won't want to miss any of them. Additionally, your subscription helps us spread this message to more people who, like you, are seeking to understand their divine calling, the first mark that identifies the eyes of a chosen one. And pay close attention, because this mark is so special that when you recognize it, you will remember specific people who crossed your path. You know, those people who, even in a crowded environment, seem to shine in a different way. It's not about physical beauty. It's something deeper. It's as if they have an inner light that overflows through their eyes. This is the first mark, the unmistakable shine. Let me tell you something personal. Last week, I was at the hospital visiting a member of our church. The atmosphere was heavy, as hospitals tend to be, but there was a nurse, my brother's. What a look, that was even wearing a mask. Her eyes conveyed so much peace, so much hope. Patients commented on how they felt better just by receiving her gaze. This, my beloved, is the unmistakable shine in action. And do you know what's even more impressive? This shine does not depend on circumstances. You may have known someone who, even going through difficult times, maintains a light in their eyes that does not fade. It's like that verse in 2 Corinthians 4:6 that says, "For God, who said, 'Let light shine out of darkness,' has shone in our hearts. But be careful. Do not confuse this shine with superficial joy. It's not about always smiling or pretending that everything is fine. God's chosen ones also cry. They also face battles. The difference is that even in tears that shine remains. It's like an anchoring in the presence of God that cannot be shaken. I'll give you a practical example. Think of Moses. The Bible tells us that after he was in the presence of God, his face shone so brightly that he had to wear a veil. Exodus 34:29 makes this clear today. The chosen ones do not need a veil, but they carry that same divine light in their eyes. And do you know why this shine is so special? Because it does not come from ourselves. It's not something we can manufacture or pretend. It is the result of a genuine connection with God. It's like a lamp, it only shines. When it is connected to the power source, the chosen ones maintain this constant connection with the divine source. Now, you must be wondering, but how do I know if I have this shine? I'll give you some tips to recognize. First, people often say they feel at peace just by looking into your eyes, that they find comfort in your presence even when you say nothing. That could be a sign. Second, even in your most difficult moments, people still find hope when talking to you, as if something greater speaks through your gaze. Another strong indication. Third, have you noticed that you can convey confidence and serenity to others even when you are facing your own battles well? That's another sign of the unmistakable shine. But I need to make an important alert if you recognize this mark in yourself. Remember that it is a responsibility. This shine was not given for your personal glory, but to glorify God and bless people. It's like Jesus said in Matthew 56:16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." And if you have not yet recognized this shine in yourself, do not worry. Remember that God is always calling people. Sometimes the shine is already there, but you have not noticed it yet. Start today to strengthen your connection with God. Seek His presence daily, because the more time we spend with Him, the more His shine reflects in our eyes before revealing the second mark. I want you to do an exercise. Observe the people around you in the coming days. Pay special attention to their eyes. You will start to notice this unmistakable shine in some unexpected places, and when you notice it, thank God for placing these special people in your path. In the next part, I will reveal the second mark, which is even more surprising. But for today, reflect on this unmistakable shine. Observe it in yourself and in others, and remember this shine is not your merit. It is a gift from God to bless thee. World through you. As we can see, this version is more engaging, uses contemporary examples, and maintains a personal connection with the viewer. Would you like me to continue with the next mark? The second mark that I will reveal now is so profound that it often frightens even those who possess it. You know, that moment when you look at someone and just know what is happening in their heart, not by human intuition, but by a knowledge that comes directly from the Holy Spirit. This is what we are going to talk about. Spiritual discernment in 1 Samuel 16:7. The Bible teaches us something precious. The Lord does not see as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. The chosen ones receive a portion of this divine vision. It's as if God lends His spiritual glasses so they can see beyond the visible. I'm going to share something that happened during last week's service. A young woman came to church all dressed up, smiling, apparently happy. But when our eyes met, it was as if God opened a window. Behind that smile was a deep pain, a silent struggle that no one else noticed. At the end of the service, she came to talk, and the first words were, "Pastor, how did you know? I didn't tell anyone." This gift of discernment is not to make us feel special or superior. It is a tool that God gives us to serve, to help, to heal. It's like a spiritual X-ray that allows us to see where the true wound is so we can apply the right remedy. But be careful, this gift requires enormous responsibility. It is not to satisfy curiosity. It is not to expose people. It is not to judge. It is to love better, serve better, help better. Just as Jesus did with the Samaritan woman, He saw beyond what everyone else saw and used that discernment to bring liberation. You who are watching now may be wondering, do I have this mark? I will help you recognize some signs. Do people often come to you to vent, even without you asking anything? Can you perceive? When someone is lying or hiding something not out of suspicion, but from a spiritual certainty in meetings or gatherings, do you often notice tensions or conflicts that others do not do? Strangers feel comfortable sharing their deepest secrets with you. Can you discern the root of a problem even when everyone is focused only on the symptoms? If you identified with some of these signs, it may be that God has given you this gift of discernment. But remember, with great gifts come great responsibilities. I'll give you a practical example. Imagine you're at a family gathering. Everyone is laughing and talking, but you notice that your aunt has a different look. Something is not right. This gift is not for you to announce, "Hey, something is wrong with Aunt." It is for you to pray for her, to approach her wisely, to offer a shoulder to lean on when the right moment comes. And do you know what's even more impressive? This spiritual discernment comes with a supernatural compassion. It's not just seeing the problem. It's feeling what the other is feeling. It's like Jesus who, when he saw the crowds, had compassion for them. But I need to make an important alert. This gift needs to be developed and protected. How? Through constant prayer. Keep your connection with God. Always active the study of the Word, so you don't confuse your thoughts with the voice of God. Fasting to sharpen your spiritual sensitivity. Humility, recognizing that the gift is not yours, but God's wisdom to use discernment at the right moment and in the right way. Remember what happened with Peter. Jesus looked at him after the denial, and that single look contained all the discernment needed. Peter understood everything. No precise words were necessary. That's how a chosen one with the gift of discernment acts. Sometimes a look says more than 1,000 words, and there's more. This gift often comes with the responsibility of intercession. When you see beyond, you are also called to pray. Beyond many times, you will notice things that you cannot share with anyone. They are between you and God, so you can intercede for that situation or person. Now, if you are feeling a weight for recognizing this gift in yourself, I want to reassure you. God never gives a gift without also giving the grace to manage it. He will teach you day by day how to use this discernment to bless lives. And if you have not yet recognized this gift in yourself, but wish to develop it, start seeking more intimacy with God, because the closer we are to Him, the more we can see as He sees, feel as He feels in the next part. We will talk about the third mark, which completes this extraordinary trio of characteristics of the chosen ones. But before we continue, take a moment to reflect. How have you used your ability to see beyond? Are you using it to build up, or to judge, to heal, or to hurt, to unite, or to separate? The third mark is something that transcends our human understanding. It is a divine magnetism that cannot be manufactured or imitated. You may have encountered someone like this in your life, that person who, without saying a word, without doing anything at all, conveys something inexplicable through their gaze. It's like an invisible force that draws people close, not for physical beauty, not for natural charisma, but for something much deeper. The living presence of God overflowing through their eyes. It is a magnetism that does not shout, does not impose, but gently invites people to come closer, like a divine whisper echoing in the soul. Allow me to share something I witnessed the other day in the hospital. There was an elderly man hospitalized in a terminal state. He was extremely agitated, nervous to the point of tearing off the medical equipment. The doctors had tried everything. Medications, restraints, conversations. Nothing worked. That's when a nurse entered the room. She was not the most experienced nor the most technically qualified, but there was something in her gaze. She simply held that man's hand, looked into his eyes, and within minutes he was at peace. The doctors did not understand what happened, but we know it was the divine magnetism in action. This magnetism is like a gentle perfume that does not need to be announced. Its fragrance naturally spreads and attracts it, is the same that we see in the life of David. Think with me, how did a young shepherd manage to inspire much more experienced warriors to follow him? How did he have the courage to face Goliath when all the trained soldiers trembled in fear? The answer was in his eyes, eyes that reflected an unwavering confidence in God, eyes that had already contemplated victories in secret before manifesting them in public. The most extraordinary thing is that this divine magnetism operates in mysterious and unexpected ways. Sometimes you are simply sitting on a park bench, lost in your thoughts, and someone you have never seen before approaches to share their deepest pains. Or you are in a tense meeting where tempers are high, and your mere presence begins to calm the atmosphere. It is not your words or actions. It is something that flows naturally through your gaze, like a river of peace overflowing from within. This gift has a greater purpose that goes beyond simply attracting people. It draws them closer to God. It is as if the chosen ones are living bridges between heaven and earth, channels through which the divine presence flows freely. When someone looks into the eyes of a chosen one, it is as if they can glimpse a piece of heaven, feel a touch of the divine experience, a moment of eternity and time. The divine magnetism does not seek the spotlight or applause. In fact, many who have this gift do not even realize they possess it. They are people who nature draw others close, who convey peace effortlessly, who inspire confidence without needing to prove anything. It is a gift that operates in simplicity, humility, and silence. Because true spiritual authority does not need to be announced. It is naturally recognized. It is amazing how this magnetism crosses all barriers. Cultural, social, age. Linguistic children instinctively feel safe near these people as if they recognize something familiar and welcoming in them. The elderly find comfort and wisdom. Young people find direction and purpose. It is universal because it comes from God, and the love of God knows no borders or limitations. But there is a sacred responsibility that accompanies this gift. It is not for the satisfaction of the ego or for manipulating people. It is a divine gift that must be used to heal wounded hearts, comfort those who mourn, guide the lost, and above all, glorify God. The chosen ones are like lighthouses on a dark night. Their light does not shine for themselves, but to guide others to the safe harbor. The most beautiful thing is that this magnetism does not diminish with time or adverse circumstances. On the contrary, the more trials a person faces, the more refined this gift becomes. It is like a precious wine that improves with age, because it is nourished not by human strength, but by the divine grace that is perfected in our weakness. Perhaps you are recognizing this mark in yourself now. Perhaps you are remembering people in your life who have this extraordinary gift. The important thing is to understand that this magnetism is not to create personal followers or build earthly kingdoms, but to lead people to the knowledge and experience of the love of Christ. It is a gift that operates in humility, sacrificial love, and the unchanging truth of the Word. And, do you know what is even more impressive? This divine magnetism does not need elaborate words to operate. It is like that deeply significant moment when Jesus looked at Peter after his denial. A single look that contained all the love, all the correction, and all the forgiveness needed. Peter understood everything in that instant. Not because Jesus delivered a sermon, but because his eyes conveyed the very essence of divine love. A love that restores, that forgives, that transforms. It is important to understand that these marks are not a burden, but an honor when God chooses to mark someone's eyes. He is not imposing a way. He is conferring spiritual authority. It is like receiving a royal seal that grants access to deeper spiritual dimensions. Think of Moses, whose face shone after being in the presence of God. That shine was not just a physical phenomenon, it was a visible sign of his communion with the divine today. The chosen ones carry something similar in their eyes, It is not a physical shine so intense that it needs to be covered, but it is equally powerful in its spiritual impact. And do you know what is even more impressive? God continues to mark people today while you watch this video somewhere in the world. Someone is receiving these divine marks because God never leaves his people. Without references, without guides, without lighthouses, finally understand that these marks in the eyes are part of a greater plan of God for the last days in an era of virtual reality. Social networks and artificial connections. God has established a way of connection that cannot be faked or digitized. The real encounter between eyes marked by his presence and hearts thirsty for his truth. So the next time you meet someone with these marks in their eyes, remember, you are not just seeing a person. You are witnessing a living manifestation of the love presence of God on earth. And if you yourself carry these marks, remember the sacred responsibility that this represents. Your eyes are no longer just yours. They are divine instruments of transformation, healing, and liberation. We have reached the most important moment of this revelation, how to actively use these divine marks in fulfilling your purpose. It is not enough to recognize that you are chosen. You must understand how to use this extraordinary gift that God has entrusted to you. When God marks your eyes, He is giving you a sacred tool. It is like receiving a key that opens spiritual doors, not just for you, but for all who cross your path. These marks are not to be kept or hidden. They are to be actively used in the kingdom. Think about how Jesus used his gaze when he looked at Zacchaeus in the tree. That simple look transformed the life of the tax collector. When he looked with compassion at the adulterous woman, his gaze brought not condemnation, but restoration. This is how we should use our marks to transform, restore, and liberate as Jesus taught in Matthew 6:22. If your eyes are good, your whole body will be full of light. This means keeping your spiritual eyes healthy through a life of holiness, prayer, and intimacy with God. You must daily nourish this divine connection that makes your eyes shine. You, who recognize these marks in yourself, need to understand that every encounter is a divine opportunity. When someone seeks your gaze, when they feel that special connection, do not hesitate. Allow God to use your eyes as channels of His grace. Sometimes, all a person needs is to find a gaze that conveys hope, that communicates God has not abandoned you for those who are just discovering that they are chosen. Do not be afraid of this responsibility. God does not make mistakes in His choices. If He has marked your eyes, it is because He trusts you to carry His presence. Declare with faith, I am chosen not by your merits, but by the divine grace that chose you even before your birth. Use your marks wisely. Not everyone is prepared for a direct encounter with eyes that reflect the presence of God. Learn to discern the moments, the people, and the situations. Sometimes a softer gaze is necessary, other times the full intensity of the divine gaze is needed to break spiritual chains. These marks are not for your personal glory. They are divine instruments to fulfill God's purpose on earth. Use them to build bridges, not walls, to unite, not divide, to heal, not hurt. Your marked eyes are like lighthouses that should guide people to Christ, never to yourself. If you know someone who carries these marks, encourage that person. Sometimes the chosen ones go through moments of doubt, of fatigue. A word of recognition, a testimony of the impact their eyes have had on your life, can be exactly what they need to continue their mission. And remember, these marks require constant spiritual maintenance, like a diamond that needs to be polished to shine in all its splendor. Your spiritual eyes need to be constantly purified and aligned with the divine purpose. This means dedicating time to prayer, fasting, studying the Word, and above all, intimacy with God. Do not allow the distractions of the world to cloud your spiritual sight. We live in an era of many visual stimuli, of many images that can contaminate our spiritual vision. Guard your eyes. Protect them from what does not edify. Keep them focused on what is holy, pure, and pleasing to God. Your eyes are more than windows to the soul. They are portals of heaven on earth. Use them well. Use them with love. Use them with purpose. Because through them God wants to touch, heal, and transform lives. And always remember, you were not marked by chance. You were chosen for such a time as this. Now, I want to hear your experience. Share in the comments if you recognize these marks in your eyes or in the eyes of someone close to you. Your testimony can be the light that another chosen one needs to awaken to their divine calling. Let's together reveal the transforming power of eyes marked by God.